Do you have a story to share with the world? Of course you do. We all have stories to share. An Anchor podcast allows you to share your interests in a way that connects to others all across the globe. If you have been considering starting your own podcast and don't know where to begin, Anchor makes it easy to record, edit, and publish with the click of a button. You can even add music. Whether it's crime dramas, self-improvement, paranormal adventures, or tips about parenting, you too can share your unique imprint on the world. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. You've got this. I believe in you. Welcome to the Existential Empath Podcast. My name is Tanya, and I am an intuitive empath. My intention is to share valuable tools and techniques that I have learned so you can tap into your own inner healer naturally and intuitively. Welcome back, everyone. I have guest Tracey Whittet here with me today. Tracey is a Reiki master, energy healer, intuitive guide, theta healer, and she's also specialized in healing touch and transmosis healing. She is also the author of The Magi Within, Unlocking the Gifts of the Inner Self. Welcome, Tracey. I'm so glad to have you on the show with me today.
Very cool to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Yes.
This is great. So today, Tracey and I are going to dive into the multidimensional body balancing and the power of transmosis healing. So Tracey, I am an energy healer myself. I work in several different modalities, but I have never heard of transmosis healing. So I'm just as excited to learn about this modality as my listeners are. So let's dive into it. What is transmosis healing?
Well, one day I was up in Colorado and I was doing a Reiki session for a client and I heard the word transmosis and I'm like, what is this? And I wrote it down on my whiteboard that was behind me. And I asked everybody, I asked channelers, people who could know, should know, whatever, and nobody knew what it was. So, part of me says it's a made up word and the other part of me says it's a divinely appointed word. Mm-hmm. And it really describes the energy work in a multidimensional body fashion, because what it does, let me read it, because I finally just asked source myself. I'm like, What is this? And transmosis is an unconscious transfer and assimilation of higher energies to raise the recipient's energy to equal the source energy. Ooh. So what does that mean, right? So
Tracey, I'm getting goosebumps right now. So there's obviously a transmission just by you sharing that knowledge. I'm already receiving that. And I bet some of the listeners are as well.
That's so amazing. Yeah, it is multidimensional. And so what happens in a transmosis healing session? And I just decided to go ahead and go with the name that Spirit gave me, because whatever energy work I'm doing, whether it's Reiki or anything, I always share what I hear and I see. And so one day I was driving to work and I heard, call Vicky. And I was at a 4-way stop, and this is in Boulder, Colorado. And it's like, fine, I'll call Vicky. And so I called her and I finally listened, like a couple of weeks of that. And then finally I did it. And her outgoing message said, hi, friends, I'm out camping, but if you want an energy clearing session, call Jean Skyfeather. I'm like, okay, I'll do that. So I called Jean and I had a session with her. And what I realized is that Jean and Vicky, my teachers of multidimensional body balancing or spirit mending, were giving structure to what I was doing naturally, no matter what energy work I was doing. And they took it even further because, we have so many more bodies than just our physical body. Yeah. We have the supraphysical, which, it's always depicted to be like right next to you. But really, I think it's an inner body. So it's inside, which I think is funny. Like, you look at the rainbow that goes around people. So you have supraphysical, you have astral, which is like your emotional body. You have causal body. That's like where your past lives are stored or your memories. Whether it's this incarnation or others, they have the mental body, you have your etheric body, and you have your soul body. And so anytime anybody has an experience that is, let's say, traumatic, or you're attached to it, like it attaches to you, it can get stuck in the past. So, and that could be with on which body, right? And then 80% of the time, these energies get stuck in our systems, like such as the nervous system, the endocrine system, and the chakra system. So this work that I do, and I don't do it, I just get to facilitate and be the one voice of everything.
Yes.
And like for that hour and a half that I'm working with someone, it's like your guides and my guides, we're doing lunch and we're giving you exactly what you need for your highest and greatest good. And so if you wanted a session, you would you'd schedule it, and you'd fill out this form. What do you want to work on? Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And then I have a map. I'll show it to you. It's just an 8.5 by 11 that I created. And it's pretty much everything that I learned in my multidimensional body balancing class. And I call you in. I'm like, okay, let's call in Tanya's guides of 100% pure divine light. And we ask for her highest and greatest good to be done for herself and for all concerned. And then I call in my guides and ask to be a pure divine vessel of truth, wisdom, and healing love. And then I invite us both to take our egos and personalities outside of the consecrated space. And then I ask with I use applied kinesiology.
I was going to say, do you use muscle testing to go through that? Okay.
And so I ask, what's in your highest and greatest good? And then I muscle test everything on the list. And then when we get together, you talk about what you want to work on. I talk about what I got. And if that made sense, and we talk about it, and I really do feel like we're just throwing it up there into the energetic soup.
It's in the
so that our guides, they can help us do what we need to do. And what's been happening lately is it's kind of taken on its own module. Like you might say you need this on your knee, and I might get it's in your endocrine system of your chakra body, something going on and all of this. But what starts happening is that I can go into the nitty gritty and we can work on what you want and what I think you need, what I got. But then the light takes over, and then I'm like off script, off book. It's like I just share what I hear and I see, and the light takes over. And sometimes you're in this like golden sphere of light, and they're doing this, and I'm hearing that, and I just share it. And I think the alchemical healing or upliftment to a higher vibration is happening through what I share, that I hear and I see. And like it's like when you were a kid and you're having somebody read you a story, your mom, your dad, your caregiver, whatever, they might describe something and you in your own imagination see it completely different than how I see it. It's a green tree, it's this or that. You might see a Keebler elf tree and I might be seeing a spruce, or whatever. And so I think something happens energetically, alchemically, that like homeopathy, like soul homeopathy, it just meets it and it releases it and it upgrades it and you assimilate it. And sometimes it's unconscious, sometimes it's conscious. And people say that they feel lighter, they feel more connected, and then what I love is when I can go way out.
Oh, fun. Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, they're saying this, they're saying that, I'm seeing this. And then when I kind of sometimes see a golden river, like coming from above your head, all the way through your body, out into the earth, that's when I know you're reconnected. That's when I know we cleared out any kind of lower frequencies that may or may not have been in your systems. So you have a nervous system in your physical body, but you also have one in your soul body and your causal body. So there's many intersections of what that could be, and everything's holographic. So let's say we're clearing your mom's side of the family 150 generations back. We can take that whole generational line and place them in the separation room, and we're going to bind and gag any misqualified energies. We don't touch them. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's dark, but 10 is light and 9 to 1 is dark, let's say. And the dark never prevails. The light always wins. And so somehow through all of these myriads of what I hear, what I see, and it's co-creative. So you would be saying things too, like, oh, I'm experiencing this in my big toe or whatever. And so I mix up the modalities to what that person needs.
Yeah. And what their frequency is at that time, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And transmosis is like, again, an appointed word that seems to, like, if the divine, let's say, is higher frequency than we are, and then we connect, and then the guides and the light tools do the work. Like the light tools would be like the violet consuming flame to consume all rips, tears, cracks, all non-beneficial frequencies. And then if we want to transmute energies, we would use the purple transmuting flame, and that light transmutes it. And it's our guides doing the work, but it's all of us co-creating together. So it's like formlessness and form meeting. And I really know it's sacred when you have spirit and matter meeting. And that's kind of what we're doing. I guess I get to be like a conduit to allow frequencies to come through. And I always know when really high frequency councils of light are working with the individual, because I start getting really hot.
Yes, I feel that too. Yes, Tracey.
Yeah. Yes.
I get burned up, especially when light language comes through. It's like, yes, I'm on fire. And it's like, yes, okay, I know that I'm releasing things when that stuff comes through as well.
Yeah, you integrate also. You know, it's almost like we both get to be worked on together when we're doing that kind of work with our client and with ourselves. And integration needs to happen for us as well, and just adjust to the new frequencies as we expand or deepen, however you want to see it. Yeah.
That's really neat. And I think you and I both, it appears, because I was reading about all of the modalities that you've gone, you've specialized in, and myself included. And I thought, as I was going through this process, because I have the Healing Touch book, but I never went through the process, but I have enough understanding to know what it's about. But it's kind of funny because I do think a part of our journey was to learn these for ourselves, but also to incorporate them all together. And I do the same when I'm doing my quantum healing hypnosis sessions. Oftentimes I'm using EFT tapping, I'm muscle testing, I'm doing light language, I'm doing healing touch, I'm Reiki, all these things. And so I think it's fascinating that as energy workers, we learn all these different modalities. And then it's like, we get these downloads of information to say, okay, you've got the pieces of the puzzle. Now let's start putting that puzzle together. And now you can utilize that to help, not only heal yourself, but to assist others in healing, in their healing journey too. So I love that you have kind of molded and meshed all these different modalities together, and that now you're utilizing them in a way that is raising the frequency of yourself, the people you're working with, the planet, everything. And it's just fascinating. And really, like you said, we're just a conduit. We're a vessel, right? And we're just kind of there to act as a messenger, so to speak, of, okay, this is the information that's coming through. Take it or leave it, however it's coming through. And yeah. So what are what is maybe one of your most profound sessions that you remember with a patient or with a client that was pretty significant?
Wow.
You're like, I've had so many. I don't know how to.
Well, they're each and every one is very sacred and unique. And what's so fascinating is when it comes to me that is healthy, they don't have anything physically wrong, they're really happy, nothing, no mental, nothing. Those are the most profound, because I'm just sharing, I'm just there, I'm present, and I'm sharing what I hear and I see. But this person has like tears just coming, they're laying on the bodywork table, but they just have tears. Or this one woman had like a trauma where she was only 15 years old, but she had been molested by a cousin recent. And so it was very fresh. So she didn't have to be living with that trauma for a really long time. We could help and clear that out. She too had all of these tears coming, and she didn't know why. And it's like, I wasn't doing anything. It was maybe just what she was ready to release, because I really feel that it's empowering to help someone remember who they are, or remember what they are. For myself, I'll share, talk about multitasking, multidimensionality. One morning, I never know what I'm going to feel or be when I wake up, right? So I wake up in the morning and I'm like, what is this feeling? And I'm normally not real emotional and stuff, but I was like, what is this? And the only words I could describe would be like when you feel really supra self-conscious or supra insecure, something. I don't know what happened in the dream space,
Yeah, we never do at the time.
No, I don't remember all the time. So I remember going, all right, I've got to do something because I'm very uncomfortable. And I had to teach a class that night, a satsang on Zoom, and I was just not feeling balanced, right? So I went out to the living room. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do Transmosis on myself. And so I called in my guides and I used my map, and I was like, oh my God, I've really got a lot going on. I circled almost everything on the piece of paper, right? So what we do, I'm just going to share, is like I have a crystal. I don't know if you can see it, and it has magnets on either side of it. So you hold the crystal over the palm of the hand, and it's supposed to be still like it is for me right now. But sometimes I'm working with people and it's like, whoa, it's
around.
Like, yeah. And what it's doing is it's clearing their field. And then I do that on the right hand as well. And then what I do is I take my other pendulum, because I love gemstones.
Yeah, no, they're fun.
And then I just go into the field of the chakra system to make sure that they're open, right? So whether it's on Zoom or in person, I make sure the chakras are open. And this is where the healing touch comes in. You know, you kind of like connect all the chakras, you open them up, and you send the energy up. So send energy with your right and receive with your left. So right hand is over the root chakra, left hand's over sacrum, and you just keep moving up. And then I recheck it, like biofeedback, make sure everything's flowing. So I did that for myself. And then I consecrated the session, which is calling in my guides of 100% pure divine light, asking for my highest and greatest good. And then what I did, and normally you clear ancestors maybe 20 generations back, something like that. This was like the furthest I'd ever gone before. It was like 135 generations back on my dad's side of the family. And then I thought about it. I go, you know, you can't really take someone further than where you've gone yourself. Maybe that's a belief, but that's kind of what I was getting. Now I'm up to like 300 generations back. So it's like depending on the consciousness of the recipient.
That's a deep-seated, rooted, thing that something that
you don't need to know the story. You don't need to know the traumas, but I envision it like we have graph paper around us, and then negative energy or lower frequency energy or whatever just gets glommed into our field or our body or our system, nervous system, whatever. And so I was 135 generations back working on my dad's side of the family, clearing them all out, and did that. And I use access consciousness a lot because that is just such an easy peasy way to create change in someone's life. And I used the clearing statement, right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, povids, and beyonds. And it like goes right over your head, right? So I cleared out all the energies with the ancestors. And then all of a sudden, this is what I mean about the light taking over for me. I felt like I was being shown a scene like a winter storm. It was snow, and you could see the snow fences, and like you could only see the top part of the snow fence because everything else was full of snow. You could only see that part. And then this like white wind just came, and it was just a whiteout. And then I couldn't see any more of the snow fence. And then the next scene, I'm like hovering over a beach, and it was like an ocean, and it was that beautiful color. Like I call it midnight blue, kind of like the crayon midnight blue. It's kind of like a sapphire. Beautiful color. And then it was like a red sandy beach. And so, and the waves were just lapping, you know, real easy peasy. So it was like two extremes. And so with that imagery for myself, I don't exactly know what it means, other than I thought that maybe with the windstorm, where that was like the Holy Spirit or the Ek or something, just clearing everything out. And then with the beach, I was kind of thinking, oh, this is the ocean of love and mercy. I've arrived, you know, whatever. And after that session, it was only 30 minutes, but then I felt much better and I could teach my class. I'm like, wow, isn't there anyone on the planet that can help me? Because this is weird, right? And so I heard Patrick, and I have a chiropractor friend named Patrick O'Keefe, and he's like way out there, I think. And I texted him, and I said, I think I'm having an expansion experience. I don't really know what to do with it. So he said, yes, I can see you tomorrow. And sure enough, I had gone into some supreme realm of yada, yada. I don't, you know, in his terminology, I don't mean any disrespect. And I experienced it myself, and I record these sessions, and I haven't actually gone back to listen to it. But from what I understand, when you go back and listen, it's kind of timeless, and it kind of can help it go deeper. So for myself, that was my experience. Other people just say it was transformative. And when I see that golden river come, you know, I know they're good. I know they're reconnected, you know?
Yeah, and I usually can feel it. I'll get goosebumps or some sort of sensation in my body. I'm extremely clairsentient, so I can often sense the minute that it's almost like I get a vision of every cell in their body
Yes.
restructuring, like, around, and then
Yes.
I'm like, oh, it's moving, it's working. You're working in the quantum field, and things are reorganizing themselves and
Yes.
reprogramming and whatnot. So it's funny how each of us has that validation of when we know that this is working, this is happening. And yours is the golden river, and each and every one of us as energy workers, just we have that validation. And then the more you work in it, you're just like, oh, here it comes. And are you recognizing too, the more you do this, the faster it happens too with people? I'm kind of recognizing that I don't have to spend as much time, often. It seems much more rapid than it did, say, a couple years ago, when I was
Yeah.
doing this.
I agree with you, and I think it's a lot of it is the energy of the consciousness on the whole planet, and just where we are in time right now with the divine's help,
Mhm.
and people are more ready. There's not as much splodginess. I don't even know if that's a word, but like to go through. I think people, I don't know, but maybe COVID helped people get in touch with themselves because they were
Possibly.
home,
Mhm.
and it's like an awakening. It's like, wow, life is short. What do I want? What do I do? This isn't right. What do I want? What do I need help with? And I just feel like a midwife, just kind
Mhm.
of helping people
Facilitator. Mhm.
rebirth themselves into their connection with the divine, remove the stuff that prevents them from remembering or experiencing who they really are as soul, like a soul walking in a human body. We're divine humans.
I love that. I love that. So, Tracey, let's talk a little bit about your book, The Magi
Sure.
Within: Unlocking the Gifts of the Inner Self. What is the precipice of this book?
So I'm a co-author of The Magi Within, Unlocking the Gifts of the Inner Self. And it's a workbook that helps empower people to get in touch with their own intuition. And so your inner realms, your inner self, I think that's where all the action is anyway. And so we have 26 chapters, A through Z. A is awareness, K is kindness, Z is 0 point. And so we quoted someone famous that would talk about awareness or whatever, and then we would all wrote a chapter, which is kind of unique. We have two other women, Vicki Brown and Sandra Serio. Sandra Lee Serio. She's an astrologer. The other one, Vicki, is a interior designer, and I guess I was a corporate person and a light administrator or whatever you want to call me. And we each wrote a chapter. And what's so beautiful is we have the chapter with the quote from the famous person, and for a while, we had Google Drive or Google Docs, Google Pictures, Google Images, and you can't use them. So then we painted them. We painted, how do you paint awareness? How do you paint energy? And so we did our own process. We would go within, we'd do our meditation, go into the center of the head, connect and breathe and do all of that. And then we would think of a letter or whatever. And if we were working on awareness, I remember specifically, we were all sitting on the floor doing our process in Vicky's art room. And it was like, I see celery green as the background. What do you guys see? And so we painted the energies into the artwork with acrylics or gold foil and whatever. So all of those paintings are in the book. Like here's the magic
Oh,
one.
wow, that's beautiful. Hmm.
And so these are also very activating. So
And I'm
you,
sure there's light codes inside of those, as you were receiving that information, and then as you were painting it, that those
Mhm.
codes are coming through. Hmm.
Yeah. And then we have questions to expand the awareness and experience of magic in this example. And then the person would like read the little chapter and then be with magic all day long and see how magic showed up in their life, etc., and journal about it. So it's a workbook, and it's designed to empower people to get in touch with their own intuition, to get right back into their own knowing, their inner magi,
Yeah.
their own wisdom. And I have all of the paintings in my living room. So it's like the magi
Oh, I
within
love it.
all around the room. So it's got some really good energy in there for sure.
That's neat. Yeah. And I think too, that's so important for us to reconnect with our intuition. For so long, we've been so disconnected. And, and that's where I kind of started too, because I teach people how to tap into their inner healer naturally and intuitively. And So, many have been shut off from that. So I love that you've created a workbook it provides that visual stimulation as well as the reading, the mental, and then the writing too. I think that's really important, especially when it comes to creating things in your life or, creating things in your external reality, just utilizing all of our senses. I think that's amazing that you all, were guided to put this book together.
What could we give humanity? And we just thought the greatest gift would be to give them themselves, to reconnect to themselves, to the inner worlds, because that's where we get disconnected from.
Absolutely.
Because we're always focused out here, where this is where the juice is. This is where, you have your waking dreams at night. Sorry, your sleeping dreams at night. And then during the day, you have your waking dream. So it helps you hone into paying attention and noticing that the universe is in concert with you and has your back. That's my latest lesson. It's like, I always thought I was co-creating and I was in charge of my life and I had to do everything.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Because when you're in that flow state, it's naturally there and it's effortless. And we've all felt that before. It's just maintaining that flow state and saying, okay, I can recognize when I'm in and out of alignment. And I like that you have awareness as that first word, in the book, because that's a good tone to set for the entire book, because I'm sure every single word after that can all tie back to awareness.
Yep. It's all focused on that and how you experience awareness. Is it expanded? Is it contracted in fear? And I do teach, I think I wrote that one. I think I wrote that chapter. And it's all about the heavy and light tool. This is an access consciousness tool for people and for your listeners. Basically, you become the pendulum. You ask a question and the answer is true. It's up here. You feel it in your body. Like you ask a question, is my name Tracey Whittet? Yes. You feel it. But is my name Tanya? No, I feel it down in my, my gut. And that's just the heavy and light tool. So you can ask questions to stay in the expansive field of your life. And if you follow everything that is light and true for you, life gets a lot better. But it's when we go against what we already know. Oh, my gut told me I shouldn't have done that. And I did. And it was an awful party that I went to or whatever. Right.
A lot of it is feeling within our body that, does it feel good? Does it feel right? Does it feel light? Does it feel happy? Versus overthinking. What should I do? What should I do? No. It's like having that awareness to sit with your body and really tune into those subtle energies of our intuition, and then following that little nudge.
And it never lies. Your body never lies. It tells you. It's like a vehicle. It's like a
little GPS system. Really. Yeah.
Yeah. So, every day is new, and every day, I can't say that every day is like perfect and happy and unicorns and rainbows, but I've learned now, as I'm in relationship with the universe and allowing the universe to kind of guide me, that it's for my highest good. Everything's a gift, and just be with it, embrace it, because it's all growth. And I've been recently struggling with suffering versus struggling. Like if I'm in the shadow frequency of struggle, it's like, why am I suffering? I don't have to suffer. That's a choice. I've heard that cliche, but it's real. And what I've learned, because I'm pretty strong-willed and stubborn, that if I just relax and go, okay, what?
Yeah, just put your hands up and say, okay, I give up. Like what?
Surrender, right?
Show me.
Exactly. And that's what I say when I'm working with someone. Thank you. It's like, show me. And then they'll go, oh, start with this, start with that, pull up the, nervous system of the soul body and put them in the fight or flight room and reduce the tension and with the light, and then heal them with golden liquid light so that they don't ever have it come back, and, protect them. And I say it out loud and I record it and I send it, because I want people to use these words, these phrases, these tools for themselves.
Yeah.
So that they can manage their own life in a happy way. I mean, it's spiritual hygiene.
It
We
is.
wash our hair, we brush our teeth.
Mhm.
We don't remember our energy field sometimes. And it's just like when I meditate or contemplate in the morning, I call in my guides.
Mhm.
And 100% pure divine light is something really important to stress.
Yeah, because you don't want guides from lower frequencies coming in, or yourself and other lower frequency timelines coming in, you know.
Exactly. So you declare it. That's how powerful the spoken word is, or our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. If we actually take care of ourselves and reparent ourselves, it's almost like, what would God do? What would the creator do?
Yeah, and it's not 100% time love, you know, getting back to that feeling of what feels good, what feels right, what feels loving, what feels compassionate, you know, and unconditional. And we as humans, I think that's it. We're being guided back to our hearts. We're being guided back to that inner child nature, you know, that joyful,
The
happy,
innocence.
loving essence that we were born with, you know. It's like,
Without the
oh man,
mind.
it took me this long to figure this out.
I think that too. Thank you. Because I'm like, oh my God, I've been with this body for all these years and I'm just getting it. But I'm going to be kind to
And I'm
myself,
sure
and it's
kind of getting it.
okay.
I feel like I'm getting it more than I was getting it. You know?
Exactly. It's just an evolutionary unfolding to be soul, and soul alignment. I think you said that. That's my thing.
Mhm.
We can be aligned to soul, then we're in relationship with the universe. Everything's relationship, whether it's our nervous system, with our endocrine system, with our chakra system. We can go into all the spiritual anatomy of all of it, that's physical as well as etheric. But sometimes things happen in our etheric bodies that cause the physical things to show
Totally.
up. And when you meet it, when you acknowledge it, accept it, transmute it, love it, whatever needs to happen, then healing occurs. When you give the soul what it needs, healing occurs.
Absolutely. And it's like, I recognize that a lot with myself and my clients is oftentimes things that have manifested in the physical. It takes a lot longer because it's a denser energy. It was already created a long time ago in the emotional body, the energetic body, the mental body. And so it's really just figuring out, you know, where did that root start, and then not cutting it off, but plucking that baby out with all the roots and everything.
Yeah.
And then filling that in with that beautiful golden healing light and saying, okay, we've moved through that, we've cleared that. And yeah, so it's really, I think too, we're all awakening to that everything isn't physical. Everything isn't physical. And I know for me, it's like, I feel like maybe a very small, tiny bit is physical. It's like, oh, you know, when we talk about our multidimensional selves, it's like, it's so vast and it's so infinite, and it could be anywhere why I'm having this pain in my shoulder. It really
Right.
could
And
be.
what timeline
Yeah, what
and what
timeline?
dimension? I
Hmm.
mean, it's a lot, it's quantum, you're right. And Buckminster Fuller said that. He said 1% is visible and 99% is invisible.
Wow.
I'm interested in the invisible. I just
Yeah.
am. I always have been. I'm very curious. And yeah, is this a matrix? Are we a program? I can go into the mental body like cray cray.
Me too. But that's fun. I think, you know, and maybe you and I can have that discussion another time on another show, is the holographic universe, because I have not talked about that yet, but it would be a really fun conversation for us to have, is how we're living in a holographic universe. And, you know, Greg Braden, I love him. He has the Divine Matrix, and I've dove into that book like 3 different times in 3 different conscious levels of myself. And it's like,
Yes.
every time I have these epiphanies. And so
Yes.
I would love to have you come back on the show again where we could talk about that, because wow, that in itself, we can move down that mental body and you're like, whoa, and it just opens up questions and more
Mhm.
rabbit holes, you know, to go down.
Exactly. What is that about a hologram? You can carve out a little piece of it and it's got everything in it. The
Yeah,
whole is
a
right there.
fractal. Yeah.
And so all the work that I do is basically holographic. We're calling up the holographic image of your nervous system in your astral body, for example. We're putting you in the holographic fight or flight room, or the holographic healing room, or the anger room where the guides are helping. And that's the part where I go, wait, is this really helpful? Is this really working? Or is this just my imagination? But I will say, I have a clairvoyant girlfriend. She says, I want to get on your table and see, because after I told her about that big expansion I had, She goes, I want to see exactly where you're going and what you're doing. I'm like, okay. And so she got on the table and she said, everything that you're saying is happening. I'm like, wow, thank you. Thank
Validation.
you.
Yeah.
No, it's just like, I don't know for sure because I'm like you, clairsentient, but I'm
Mhm.
also clairvoyant. So I see, but my eyes are closed. And
Yes,
sometimes
I
I
feel
can
the
light
same.
out,
Mhm.
but
I've got a
I
guest coming on to talk about that imagination versus intuition, how to recognize that. And then, so I'm really excited for that because I think they really mold together, they kind of mesh and mold together because that's how we create is through imagination. That's why children are so imaginative and they just create so easily. And we've
yes,
lost that as we've gotten
that's
older.
what Einstein said. And that's in our book under imagination. We have that picture of the imagination. It's like your imagination is preview to life's coming attractions.
Oh, nice. I love that. I love that.
It's really true. And I think that there's a whole lot more going on than just this 3D world. I know there is.
Yeah,
And to be able to teach humanity, teach individuals to tap into that, into their own inner power, what a great gift. What a legacy to leave behind to remind people that they are a spirit in a human body.
absolutely.
Yeah, and to be aligned with everything. It's all about getting rid of the disconnects
Mhm.
and the wounds, cleaning them up and filling them in with liquid golden light so they don't come back, heal and seal, get everything in its right place. And then everybody is like returned to their not their original divine blueprint, but their current divine blueprint,
Mhm.
because we've all been going through growth and change and the world's been changing. So what's our current divine blueprint? What can I do now? What platform level am I on now? Not that we have to know, but it's curious.
Uh-huh.
To operate from a different baseline than when we started as an infant, coming into the body and taking our first breath.
Yeah, because we were in a different density then too when we were born. And I truly do believe that yes, we're awakening to the idea of the matrix, the third dimension, but we're also awakening to how to harmonize those lower denser energies with the more higher expanded energies, and also learning that, like you said, 99% is unseen, and so we're also awakening to that. And I truly believe there's no end to the awakening. We're always going to have more expansion, more growth, more, as long as we allow ourselves to open ourselves up, to
Yeah.
that. And that's the beauty of it is, and as you do that, you start to adjust frequencies, and then you meet new people, and then you have different experiences. And so it's really never ending. It's all infinite because we're all one, we're all connected. I always think of it's like a Rubik's cube, in the beginning, it's all a mess. And then you start to move it around and you
Ah,
align and, all these things. And then you're like, okay, now it's all, kind of everything seems lined up. And yeah, so it's just fascinating. And I love, so right now I just looked at the clock. It said 4444 on it. So I knew that was my time to,
I love it.
to start wrapping it up. But so Tracey, where can people find you and how can they find your book? How can they get your
Sure.
book?
Thank you.
Mhm.
My name, Tracey Whittet, Traceywhittet.com. And there's a page on, I try to explain Transmosis, but there's a page for book, and you can go there and buy it on Amazon, or, I don't want to exclude anyone. I want everyone to have it, but you'd have to print it out. It's a PDF for free. If you wanted to get it off my website, you could do that, or just look at it on your screen, whatever you want, just to get the information out to help people really connect with themselves. Yeah, so it's my website, and then I'm on Facebook and all that stuff too. And I write quatrains, or the divine comes through me, and I write these 4 lines. And so I post them on my blog on the website, TraceywHittet.com, but I also put it on Facebook.com, Transmosis Healing. And so I put those there. So I'm on social media as Tracey Whittet, get with it, quit it with it, all that.
I love it. That's cute. I love that tagline. Well,
Thank
Tracey,
you.
I appreciate you coming on today. I love your energy. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
all that you're doing with, assisting during this ascension process. We are all here. We are all finding our way, finding our own purpose and we're on our own little journeys. And, I really appreciate you for coming on the show today and sharing, all of your knowledge and wisdom on all these beautiful healing modalities that you have so graciously learned. And so thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun, and I feel like I met a spirit sister. Thank you so much.
You deserve to navigate your life as an empath in alignment with health, happiness, and abundance. To learn more about the services that I provide, including Beyond Quantum Healing Hypnosis, EFT tapping, and the Emotion Code, visit my website at www.thesoulcafe.org.